Literally, you can do everything right in your business or idea or entrepreneur, still face disappointment. I think what being in the dark does allow you to, one, define what success looks like to you, even if you fail, right? In spite of failing, it's not a failure. You learned this, you achieved this. It didn't go where you thought it was, but now you know that, like, I was able to gather this and I can take it on to improve it or
But you wouldn't know that you're gonna fail until you put it out.
I'm saying
you're just trying to determine, like,
right.
what is, have you accomplished what you defined from day one?
Correct.
When it comes to the light, everybody's going to find out about it anyway, and they're going to celebrate you. So what is it that you want to accomplish while you're in the dark that you need to put out there that can't be accomplished when you have a finished product?
You actually reminded me of like developing photos, right? Like physical photos. They do it in a dark room, right? Because light is gonna mess up the photography.
If it's not prime.
Yeah. Right. So that's the picture that came to my mind.
Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Grind,
BTG,
where purpose meets hustle and real conversations meet real success. Our podcast is for aspiring entrepreneurs, business owners, and motivated employees. And I'm Alan.
I'm Tosin.
And I'm Kay.
And today, I want to talk about, how do I put this? It's like, I had a friend who was talking about he likes to keep it on the low when he's doing things. And he doesn't have to share, he doesn't like to share everything because, you know, he just likes to pop up like, I'm here. What do y'all think about that?
Like, when you say keep it on the low, can you give us more context?
Any moves he's doing, any endeavors, and I just kind of thought about it like, you know, I think I'm kind of that way in a way. And I wanted to know if anyone else was that way, if it was just us being two of a kind.
Well, are you trying to say like, hey, I don't want to know, I don't want anybody else to know what I'm doing because I'm scared they might steal my idea? Or are you saying that I don't want to be too loud about what I'm doing because I need some time to make sure, like, I test my theories, I get it right? Like, which one are you saying?
For me,
because I got a rebuttal for both.
For me, so whatever it means to you, but for me, what it means to me is that I want the chance to fail quietly.
Okay.
And one, two, I don't want negative energy and naysayers influencing my own self-confidence on that. I want to seek your opinion without you volunteering it and projecting your own failures onto me. And three, I just want the opportunity to create something and celebrate it before I do a hard launch or any launch. So I want that opportunity to go through the growth and push myself, kind of like, you know how they say, you wasn't with me shooting in the gym. I was shooting in the, you know, you want to get better at anything. You're waking up extra early, putting in the extra work and all that. You don't have to be like, yo, I'm going to the gym. Catch me there. Y'all want to bring a camera? Look, guys, I'm at the gym right now. I'm not that person. I'm the person.
Who said you wasn't with me shooting in the gym? Was that Drake?
That was Jordan. That was Jordan.
Oh,
that was Jordan. Nah, it was Drake. It was Drake.
Anyway, so here's my thing, right? I feel like visibility is like the new drug.
No, that was Jay. That was Jay. Wasn't it Jay?
No, that was not Jay. That was Rick Ross. He was talking about Kobe's wife.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, I didn't mean to digress.
I was like, what's that? Now you got me thinking. So many people have said it, right?
But anyway, I feel like, you know, visibility is like the new drug. And the reason why I said that is because some people will have this mindset that, you know, if it's not online, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. It didn't happen.
Or it didn't happen.
You didn't wash your face without a camera there, your face is dirty.
Yep. and so it almost gets to a point where, especially in the social media age, where people feel like they have to share every single thing.
Every move.
And from a psychology perspective, they feel like they have to do it because if they don't post it, it's almost like they're not doing anything or they haven't done enough. You get what I'm saying? And so for me, I feel like there are pros and cons to that. If you live in a world of content creation, then yeah, maybe that might help, because some people want to know the journey. They want to know, how you got to, where you're going, right? But if you're not in the content space where your life is built on content, where that's not how you're making money, I think it could do you a lot of harm, because now you're putting out stuff that is still brewing. You haven't really fine-tuned it yet.
Still in the incubator.
And you give people the opportunity to critique or even destroy what you're building.
Destroy your confidence and everything. And
So-
you just start inserting ideas that may not even be valid sometimes.
Exactly.
But everyone's an expert,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's why I said I had a perspective for both. So if you guys are saying, that incubation moment, like, you don't want to be too loud about that. My rebuttal to that is advertising, right? I might not be putting myself out there to be loud. I'm putting myself out there to be known. Let's say I have a creative business. I'm a graphics designer, right? I've got the skills. I know what I'm doing. I've gone to school. I've got the degrees, or I've got the education somehow. I know how to do it. But now I need to tell people that I can do it, right? So maybe I need to post some of the projects that I've done.
Well, you're talking about a finished project. You're talking about a finished work. What we're talking about is, before you get that finished work, is it necessary for you to expose every little single detail of what you're building in the background?
I think a little bit of people love the, sometimes it might not be the attention. It's showing everyone else, like, y'all didn't think I would get here. I'm out here making it, right? Or like, it's showing a little sign of success, right? Even if they're not marketing. It's kind of like, finally those people in high school who whatever, now they're seeing you and they're like patting the back. It's a little bit of confidence boost. But I will say to everyone, even if you're not growing, there's a season of waiting, right? Everything is not about like, I put in this and I should get this. Okay. There's a timing aspect, right? To everything. So there's a saying where it's like, when a tree's not growing, it doesn't mean it's not growing. The roots are still growing, right? It's just not seen. Just because it's not above the ground doesn't mean it's not doing something. So the work you're putting in where you're not seeing the motion you want to see doesn't mean that like, hey, you don't always have to be seen is what I'm trying to say to grow. So there's timing for all that.
I got a story for you, right? And for the sake of privacy, I'm going to call the client company A. So one of my clients owns a company A, right? And he's at a stage where, he's trying to raise money, but he's not trying to go the equity route or the standard banking route. He wants to go the bond route, right? Like bond loan. So, right now he's making so many progress, like connections, things that he needs to be able to serve,
right?
The people that he wants to serve, right? The app is growing and it's forecasted by the end of the year, it's going to reach about 100,000. And I'm having a conversation with him and he's talking about, man, I need to speak to this person. I need to speak to this person and I got to let everybody know. And I said, if you let everybody know,
it's your competition.
And people jump on your platform, but you have not raised the money to be able to, accept, or should I say to service the folks that are coming on board and the infrastructure and all these things that you need.
It's going to be trash.
What's going to happen is people are going to come on, they're going to get a poor experience and they're going to leave. And somebody's going to see what you're doing,
copy it and make it better.
They're going to copy it and they're going to make it better.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? You see how there are pros and cons, and that's like a con. Like if you know that timing. You're not prime, for limelight, and you're in a stage where you're building and you don't have the infrastructure in place to be able to welcome all the people that you're trying to serve. You don't need to. You don't need to put it out there. You can still, like you said, you can still push out your business that, hey, you are providing XYZ service just for business to continue to function. Right.
Until you set up.
But in terms of what you're cooking behind closed doors,
Trying to blow up.
there's a reason why Apple and all these companies, they keep things
Yeah, they keep it
silent
until
the launch date when it's time to let everybody know.
Because it also builds that suspense.
Exactly.
But you got to have your ducks in a row. Because if you, on the launch day, if they drop a dud, everybody can be like, man,
Exactly.
this is
No,
trash.
but that's why they actually test it out.
No,
with
I know.
developers. They have that developer
I know.
platform.
Right. No, I'm saying
Right.
but I'm saying like he said, they're in the dark, still testing for the business.
They want to
but they're not.
They want to make sure that it's ready for prime time.
Right.
Because think about it. Apple is servicing billions of people, right?
Daily. Yeah.
On a daily basis.
Right.
And, you're building something. You're letting everybody know that you're building something. And guess what? You find out that what you're building can't even go out.
Yeah.
Right.
There was a particular product that Apple was building and it got leaked. Or should I say it got leaked and Apple was forced to announce it, right? That this thing is coming.
Is it a car?
Bruh.
Was there
Was it
a
a
Apple
car?
car?
Apple car.
Yeah, I was gonna say the car.
And guess what? It never launched.
No.
And then it makes your business look bad because you look like you don't know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Or
it's
you
not,
can't compete.
or you can't compete.
I just always say like it's really hard to sometimes you don't know where you're going, right? You're still trying to figure out where you want to go, turn by turn. That's how business works sometimes. You may want to get to New York City and you want to take this highway to get here, right? But there's a detour here and you got to turn this way and turn this way.
Traffic. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you blow your whole roadmap on social media, someone's just going to find a shortcut. Look at all your mistakes as you share your location with everyone. You know what I mean? And they're gonna tell you stupid for going there. You should have gone
They
here.
jack you on the way.
Right, they'll jack you on the way. Right, still that's a good. They'll jack you on the way. They'll clown you, and you end up in Georgia and be like, no offense to Georgia, but you like I'm just not gonna go. I'm gonna settle here.
Yeah.
And that's what ends up happening with a lot of businesses.
So from what I'm hearing, it's
hype
really
sometimes.
when we're cooking something, we need to make sure that before we release it to the world, right? You need to make sure that it's nice and ready.
Yes.
Use
Just
that time
to
use
make
that
your mistakes and learn.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's
Use
so
that time,
critical.
Kind of stay in that incubator mode, work out the kinks.
Yes.
Work out test it out. Maybe you have a small group where you test it out
Yep.
with instead of blowing it out loud.
Yep.
Now, for those people that like to blow it out loud, what's the problem?
Are you
What's the
ready?
problem?
You can blow it out loud. Are you ready?
Well, so
Let them copy me. They can't do what I do.
so
Have
that's
you done what you did though?
I might be
You
what
gotta
some
do what
people
you
are
do
saying.
first before you say that.
This podcast is also for ambitious employee, right? Think of this example, because I believe that the best transformations happen in the dark when nobody's looking. Let's say you want to get your cybersecurity certification or project management certification or your real estate license or your, I don't know, something it's going to elevate you to the next level. You haven't started yet, but you're posting it. Hey guys,
I'm going to class.
I'm going to class.
I'm going to class, buddy.
Unless your job is an influencer, then there's no point.
That's why I
There's
said
no point.
unless like this is what you're using
Like,
to
this
make
is
money.
what you're using to make money.
So let's say you're like, oh, I'm going to go get my project management professional license. Okay,
Look at
we
me,
all know that.
guys. Hey,
Month 1, you still haven't gotten it. Month 2, you haven't gotten it.
We starting the clock for
So
you.
now, maybe you failed the first time. Maybe you failed the second time. Maybe you failed the third time.
but even without anyone saying anything, now you feel bad because people
You
are
know what?
seeing you.
Hey,
Not even
Exact-
feeling bad. Maybe there's more pressure.
There's pressure.
That's what I'm trying to say.
That's
Like,
that
you're
pressure.
putting
You
undue
don't need that
pressure on yourself.
unnecessary. There's a reason.
It's not, and
My-
people mistake that kind of pressure for accountability. And I'm like, that's not safe.
My wife is a real estate agent right now, right? And I remember when she was studying to take the test, she said, hey, I'm feeling led to get my real estate license. And, I don't want nobody to know, right? It could be because, she doesn't want to put the pressure on herself, or it could be because you don't know who your enemies are.
That too.
And they might be
Haters.
They might be praying
for your downfall.
For your downfall.
Right?
You get what I'm saying? You know,
Nice.
for folks out there, when you're going to Nigeria, well, maybe the older folks, you don't tell nobody they're going to Nigeria.
They just get there.
And when you're leaving Nigeria,
You don't tell people
you don't
you're
tell
leaving.
people when you're leaving.
I'm leaving on Saturday, leaving today.
I remember
That's funny.
my mom went to, when she was coming back from Nigeria, I said, Mom, when are you coming back from Nigeria? She said
You'll know
Sunday.
when
But she was really coming back on Friday. I said, why'd you say Sunday? She said, oh, don't you know? You never really tell people.
Because people do get robbed though. Like on the way to the, like seriously, they're like, okay, he's gonna be
You
here
know?
this time.
So I say all that to say that whether it's because you don't want to put that pressure on yourself, or whether you don't know who's praying for your downfall, whatever you got going on in the dark, whatever transformation, whatever work that you're doing,
transformation.
There's a reason why it's in the dark. When it comes to the light, everybody's going to find out about it anyway, and they're going to celebrate you.
There's no
so
rest.
what is it that you want to accomplish while you're in the dark that you need to put out there that can't be accomplished when you have a finished product?
You actually reminded me of like developing photos, right? Like physical photos. They do it in a dark room, right? Because light is gonna mess up the photography.
If it's not
film.
prime.
Yeah. Right. So
Right.
that's the picture that came to my
Exactly.
mind. Right. We've got to develop in the dark.
I think you have. I think some people seek the recognition, and I don't know if it's a recognition or the success that they want. They want to reach sometimes not just that they want everyone to like praise them. Sometimes not from that aspect. It's from the aspect like I want to achieve my goal so bad. Like, so the quicker I push it out, the quicker I can achieve my goal, right? So they're like putting the carrot before the horse, and I'm going to go that. But sometimes that's not what you need, right? Because some people may work for them, but until you're resilient enough to handle and bounce back and not care, I don't recommend that when you're doing something different or new to just push it out to everyone. Even if you're very resilient, now if you fail, the people who would have backed you up had you been successful might be like, yeah, I already tried that once. It was trash. And they might not give you that second opportunity. That's one of the main reasons why.
I might even blame it on oversharing.
Yes.
We're in the culture of oversharing everything.
Hey.
Right. I'm about to eat my food. I'm about to go to the bathroom. Y'all, I'm about to go to the bathroom.
Unless you're a content creator and this is what's making you money.
No, but and it doesn't for a lot of people, right? But we just like to overshare because we want people to kind of live with us.
Yeah.
Know what we're up to.
It's okay. In the 80s, they didn't have that. People lived.
Think about the conversation we were having earlier when we first got here, right? So let's say you're in a prime position to acquire something, right? And you got to keep it hush so that you can be the benefactor of that acquisition. Now imagine you are now posting that online. Hey guys,
I'm going to check out
this XYZ. You don't know, a competitor might come there and say, oh, you're
I
paying
didn't
$1
know
million
that
for
was
this?
for sale.
You know what? I'm going to pay 1.1 mil. You just lost your blessing.
That's right.
We're not saying being secretive to everything.
No.
It's just, I truly believe you need the space to make your own mistakes or make your own successes. I don't recommend just blasting everything to everyone until you understood it, unless you're field testing.
No,
right?
what I'm saying is that while you're in the dark,
Right.
if you feel the need to share something, ask yourself, why am I sharing this?
Right.
Is it for validation or am I sharing because it's going to help
Right.
what I'm working on?
That's
Does that make sense?
exactly what we're saying. That's what we're saying.
Because I am more likely to share something with you if I feel like I'm stuck.
Yeah.
And I feel like you might have the expertise.
Well, it doesn't mean you're sharing with the public.
Exactly.
Right?
That's what I was
You're
getting at.
intentionally sharing
for feedback.
possibly with the
Yes.
public, but it could be in a small group,
right?
Whatever.
For the appropriate feedback, because sometimes you can't share with your family and friends because they're haters too. I'm gonna be real with you; they're haters too. Not saying I love my family and stuff.
Maybe one of our topics is be careful who you share your
also,
thoughts
it's
to.
not even, sometimes they're not purposely hating. They project their own limitations upon you.
Yeah.
Like,
Because they're
oh,
not
don't
ready.
do that.
Yeah.
That's hard. I read somewhere and you're like, oh, and you may have had
I've tried that before.
I've tried that before.
And it didn't work out for me.
Okay, so instead of that, if you do choose to do that and get that response, you need to question them. Can I ask a few questions? Why didn't it work out? Oh, it just didn't. It's a terrible idea. Can I ask, what about it was terrible?
Yeah.
What did you do in these processes? Then you pick their brain up and you say, you know what? Maybe it's not for me. Maybe they just did everything wrong.
Yeah.
And I have a little bit better solutions to that. And then maybe they offer you some advice from what you're hearing on how it's terrible. You realize, oh, that's some things I didn't think about either. I'm still going to do it.
Yeah.
But that's how you turn a negative feedback or negative experience and doubt into a takeaway or a positive experience. Because people do tend, especially in families and friends, they tend to, whenever someone's trying to go outside what their realm of, they tend to bring people down or bring people up.
Yeah.
So if they're here and you have something that they may have failed at or in some way, shape, or form looks like something they may have tried entrepreneur-wise, they may not understand that indirectly and not purposely they're bringing you down.
Yeah, for sure.
So it happens. That's why they say you are the average of your, 5 or 7, whatever the number is, closest people around you is how much you make, because if they're constantly moving up, you're going to constantly move up and so forth.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, show me your top 5 closest friends and I can tell you who you are.
Yep.
So.
Sometimes whenever we get into those moments where we're building something and working on something, I think it's sometimes those kind of questions and feedback, maybe unsolicited, right, that come and make you rethink, am I doing it the right way?
Yep.
Should I be cooking in the dark? Should I be transforming or, like trying to develop myself in the dark? Or shouldn't I tell everybody? Or is it ready? I think it's ready. This person told me it was ready. It keep pushing me like, hey, it's taking too long. It's taking too long. Right? I want to know if for those that are still working on that transformation, they're still cooking up something for us to see, right? For us to experience, right? How do we make sure that, they understand how to stay in that moment, right? Without being distracted, because there's a lot of noise. It doesn't have to be from social media by you maybe posting it or whatever. It could be from the people around you. You mentioned family. Friends, co-workers, what do you call it? Co-founders, possibly even, right? When, how do you know, I'm ready. It's done. It's well done.
I think you'll never know.
The way I would look at it is, so most people don't know. So I am actually a project management professional as well. So I have that certification, and with any project that you want to bring on board, when you're doing your discovery, one of the things that you have to ask yourself is, what does success look like?
Yeah.
Right? What's the business value? Right? So once you find out what your business value is, you need to ask yourself, okay, is what I'm building in the dark, does it achieve the business value? So in other words, if you're trying to get a certification, once you get it, does that mean that you can now apply for a job that you couldn't get before? If that's a yes, then you can talk about it, right?
Once you get the certification.
Once you get the certification. Okay. If you're working on something, maybe you're working on a feature or whatever it is, right? Once that thing that you're working on, once it's completed, ask yourself, at the beginning, I said, I want this thing to be able to achieve X, Y, Z. Can it do that? And I think once you're able to define what success look like, and you're able to go back to that definition from discovery, and you're able to say, hey, I said success look like A, B, C. Now I'm done building what I'm building. Does it achieve A, B, C? If you can say yes, then it's ready for prime time.
Yep.
That's how I would look at it.
I was just about to say, you'll never know unless you define it in the beginning.
Exactly.
And he just like read my mind.
Hey, you know,
alley-ooped it. But yeah, no, I think you can do everything right, and you can still face disappointment. Literally, you can do everything right in your business or idea or entrepreneur, still face disappointment. I think what being in the dark does allow you to, one, define what success looks like to you, even if you fail, right? In spite of failing, it's not a failure. You learned this, you achieved this. It didn't go where you thought it was, but now you know that, like, I was able to gather this and I could take it on to improve it or
but you wouldn't
pivot.
know that you're gonna fail until you put it out.
I'm saying
you're just trying to determine, like,
Right.
what is, have you accomplished what you defined from day one?
Correct. So, and I'm just saying, like, even if you face disappointment when you're in the dark or in not, blasting it out yet, it allows you to build that emotional maturity, strength, and like understand yourself, your business, your idea, at least the basic, minimal, intricate workings of it, so that, now when you release and you launch, right, or release it to the public or whatever, now you, instead of that fire breathing dragon in your path before that would have like put you out, now it's more like a fly. Like, it's like, I've been here. This is nothing. I don't care about, like, whatever people are saying, the outside pouring on me and giving me opinions or whatever. I can navigate and see what's more important and what's needed for the business to achieve those goals that, this, and this, what success looks like. And I can keep going through instead of getting distracted by all the noise. Like, hey, no, he said I need to do this and he had this comment. Now you're trying to please every single comment and every single thing. And it's not structured. It wasn't your intent. If it was your intent to get feedback, that's one thing. But if you're just getting feedback left and right, it can be overwhelming and distract you from that.
Last but not least, another question I want to put out there, because I had this thought as you guys were talking. What if I'm scared in the dark? I've tried it. Oh, don't let me finish my question.
My bad. I gave away the answers already.
But I'm scared in the dark. I've been trying it. I'm not getting to those
Try
goals
Jesus.
that hey, you still answered my question. I'm almost done. All right. But I'm scared in the dark. I've tried. I still can't get it to look like I wanted it, when I first started, or I can't achieve this goal that I set at the beginning, like you guys have talked about. Like, I need help. What can I do? What are the recommendations? What do you guys think?
I am a big advocate of finding a confidant that you trust, that has an idea of what you're trying to do.
Define confidant. There are multiple.
So somebody that you trust, somebody that not only you trust, but that has your best interests at heart. That's number two. I mean, it could be a mentor, it could be an advisor. It depending on that specific thing, right? But at the end of the day, they say no man is an island, right? Yeah. We all need people at the end of the day. So if you're building something and you're scared or you have uncertainty in terms of how to structure or even go about it, or even how to define what success look like, or even somebody just to keep you accountable while you're in that dark season of building, I think finding somebody that can not only help you, but also guide you and motivate you and give you that reassurance that you need is quite important. And you can never overestimate the importance of finding Jesus as well. Put stuff in the hands of God, because you'll be so surprised how things can start to, magically just start to connect, line up. So
let me jump to Alan real quick before he says you took everything.
Go ahead.
No. About what specifically? What he said?
Yeah,
I would say
about if I'm in the dark, I'm scared. I feel like I can't achieve. I've tried. You guys say stay in the dark, stay in that moment, keep developing yourself. But I can't get it.
I'm a big proponent of reading, and reading is fundamental, and having faith in something, because I think we've discussed the definition of faith before, right? You know, believing in something that hasn't yet been proven, right? You can't prove it. It's just happened. 2, I think when I talked about the emotional maturity and resilience, if your vision doesn't work out, that does not mean you're a failure. You cannot define yourself as a failure by something not being successful. It may not just be the right timing sometimes. And that's part of being an entrepreneur. You have to be okay with it because timing is everything. And so you've been in the dark, you know, you took Kay's advice and it's still not working, or for whatever reason, then you have to understand it's okay. Maybe you have a great idea, but it's the wrong timing. Or maybe you have a great timing and the wrong idea. But what you did learn is how to structure a business and move forward with the knowledge.
You've learned
and
something.
Figure out how you can pivot to either a different business or modify your initial outlook for your business. That's why you're in the dark. So you can make these modifications and you know, fail or whatever. Feel these feelings in the dark with a confidant. So
And there you have it, guys. We talked about, you know, staying in that season of developing yourself. Everyone's going to go through different seasons in life, whether it's your entrepreneurial journey or even as your journey as an employee, right? There may be some times where you're going through some things to develop yourself, to develop a product, to develop your business. And in those seasons, we're all recommending it may not be the time to just shout it out from the rooftop on those things that you're developing. It may be the season where you need to stay in that dark place. You need to stay. And when we're saying dark place, we're not talking about, you know,
turning off the lights,
dark place, right?
In the closet.
We're talking about that
basement.
Kind of that idea of developing photography, right? It's done in a dark room, right? So that when you take it out into the light, the pictures don't get ruined.
Without
right?
so much attention. That's what we're saying.
So without so much attention, without having to put yourself out there or even to preemptively put your idea out there for somebody else to steal and whatever may be happen, right? So focus on those things. Get a game plan up front. Know what success looks like for that season of your life or that season of your business, and let's execute. In that moment, you have a lot of options, a lot of chances to pivot, to fail, to even maybe develop something new, right? So if you like our content, if you enjoy what we've been talking about, please make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with somebody who's also going through maybe their own dark season.
Yeah. Where can they find us at?
You can find us at gobeyondthegrind.com.
Hey.
And make sure, again, like and subscribe and definitely share it with even your enemies.
Yes.
Leave a comment below for your
If you see
enemies.
them going through a dark season, all right, share this with them. All right, because we all believe in you. All right, and you can do it.
That's
all right,
right.
till next time, my name is Tosin.
I'm Alan.
I'm K.
Peace.